Hey there, it's Derek from Pacific Coast Auto taking a look at a 1993 Rover Mini Cooper. So the Cooper is a sports car version of the Mini, has quite a bit more power than the standard Mini have, even in the 1300cc. This one is a 13. It's a fuel injected version. Fuel injection came in 1991 or 1992 or something like that. It is still an A series engine, and so you still have a 1950s engine inside it, but it does have fuel injection, but it's more like the Suzuki Samurai throttle body injection with just a single injector that throws it in the same area that a carbureted engine does. So you get really good response out of it, but you still get kind of old world technology. But this car is 25 years old now, and so even by today's standards, it is kind of old world. That being said, take a look. We got Mini Cooper logo on there. Aluminum radiator, and this has two fans. You have one that's run off of the engine and an electrical one that is inside here. One of them pushes the air in and one of them pulls the air through. Not all of them have the two fans. You can see one fan checking in here, and you can see the fins of the radiator. Okay, so engine has oil leaks. You can see around the valve cover there. I don't find any other engine oil leaks, and looking at the sump underneath, I don't see it having any engine oil leak running down it. Coolant looks to be good. This one has AC. It may have had the AC retrofitted into it. I'm not too sure. Here's the thing: is a lot of Minis. There are so many different styles of Minis. Every year is a little bit different, and each market is a little bit different. But this one's a left-hand drive one, which I'm not sure if you were able to buy these in Japan, except for Japan dealer specialty versions of them. Like if the regular market got only right-hand drive ones, then you can go to a Mini dealer and say, I want a left-hand drive one, and they could make one for you. But I don't really know, because it's got the fender mirrors, which is a very Japanese thing. But it's one of the models that had original door mirrors. Like all the Japanese ones had the original door mirrors here, which were converted to fender mirrors for regular production or regular sales here in Japan. And so it is a little bit confusing, and I'm sorry, my ability of Mini knowledge tops out right at about there. Okay, oddly, it has the hood opener here, like the 1980s and earlier versions of it, instead of inside the car. I don't know what that's about, but maybe somebody thought that was cool, and so added it. It doesn't have the interior cable or anything. Pop that down, give you a quick peek at the car, then we'll go over the auction sheet. It has a set of SSR wheels that look really nice on it, 12s, and it looks like stock suspension on it. Stock suspension, stock disc brakes. I think these headlights are aftermarket, because the typical ones for this year should be more round than that. Okay, let's take a look at auction sheet here. So it's a 1993 56 445 kilometers, but unknown mileage here because it's a 5-digit odometer. And because this car is a little bit weird being left-hand drive and outside of my range of Mini information, I don't know if the dashboard in this was the original one, because it does have the center gauges, and I thought that all the ones that are 1993 should have the non-center gauges, including the 3 circular gauges next to each other with speedometer, tachometer, and then your accessories. And so I'm not sure about that. Okay, 1300cc. This is interesting. The seller didn't call this a Cooper, but it is. And so that's thumbs up, because you can usually get it at a better price because of that. And I think we mentioned that before we bid on this one as well, because you can read it in the VIN number here. Okay, it's an auction grade RA because it has been in an accident. RA is generally a lower end accident, like parking lot speed accident. Interior is C. Sales points here, purchased from user, left-hand drive. Left-hand drives are probably about 2 out of 10 here in Japan. They still exist, but the right-hand drives are more common here. Okay, so registered until 2019 June. 5-digit odometer, and so they're not going to claim that the mileage is correct. It could be 56 445 kilometers. It could not. But the thing about Minis is compared to most cars, it doesn't matter that much, I think. You really have to look at the condition, because even really low mileage Minis can be in terrible condition, and high mileage ones could be in great condition. And it is a chassis that is really easy to change the engine on, change the interior on, and change everything that you need. So what you're looking for is a solid chassis, and generally it's good to have a good running engine like this one seems to be, and a good interior. Well, the interior on this one needs some work, but it's not too far gone. Anyway, let's get to the report here. Steering wheel wear, which actually isn't worn that much. Wheels scratched, and they're not scratched that much. Windshield rock chip, interior dirty. Left front inner panel dented and tear. I can't speak. Okay, the section that they're talking about here that is torn, technically the word means crack, but this is a kind of a mini thing, and you can't actually see that part unless you have a lift. And so check it out when you get the vehicle. I can't actually see anything, and I've looked, because this is a commonplace for the Minis, even ones that haven't been in accidents. I guess it's just a stress point, and so do check this when the vehicle lands, but it's nothing that I would be able to check here. Exterior has paint fade, oil leak, I already showed that. Center gauges on it, and so like me, they don't know if those center gauges are original. A dashboard is deformed, driver's seat ripped, underside scratch, dented, surface rust, and corrosion. The corrosion is not bad, and it's in a really common place here for the Minis. Okay, wood panel is cracked, various scratches and dents, and then looking at here, we got a U2 on the roof. So just show you. So if you look at the roof, and we're going to try to look at the reflections here. Okay, so the dent section is so mild it's not even really visible. You can kind of see two sections here and over there. It might have had a roof rack on it at one point. And so I wouldn't worry about that, because it's nearly impossible to see. There are two other dents. We got a U2 here. I'm shooting a video. The U2 here is right there. It's quite easy to see, but it should be able to be fixed without paint. And we have a U2 over here. And that is right at the front of the door here. This one has a scuff next to it. Okay. So let's do a once around of the vehicle. Keep an eye out for faded paint, because there are a number of panels that have faded paint. And so this side is generally pretty good. The back section here in the trunk has faded paint. So the trunk and the section right above the trunk, that is part of the body. 1.3i, the I there means fuel injected. The side is pretty good. And then the front right fender here and the cowl have faded paint. And so I have a quick look. Right here. You can see this line here and this line here. Okay, you have a crack in the fender flare there. And these fine cracks here on this piece. Now this piece here looks a little bit weird. See how it's kind of not attached 100% properly? They all look like this, even out of the factory when they were new. They were a little bit weird and not really attached properly. And then on this side, part of it is missing. So look at the front here, and then it turns into aluminum tape. The nice thing about fender flares is they're really easy to get for Minis. And if you're into the sports pack size ones that are way wider, a lot of people are, you can convert to that. A couple of dents on the front bumper here. And one next to the exhaust. Here. Aftermarket exhaust that is yellow. Okay, for corrosion. The most common place for corrosion on the Minis is right here. And that's where the corrosion is. It's hard to tell exactly how bad it is, but there's some here and about the same amount on the other side. There's also corrosion in the trunk. Now, they commonly corrode underneath the battery, but I can't see because there's a battery in there. And underneath the spare tire. Now I lifted up the spare tire and there's no corrosion in there. I don't think there's corrosion under there because you can see the bottom of the battery box. Mouthful of exhaust. Cancer drink. Okay, and then you got some here, which is not really a common place for corrosion to be along there. Now the nice thing about undercar corrosion, if I can find a nice thing about it, is that none of the areas underneath the car are seen by most of the people. And so if you were to fix it, it doesn't have to be beautiful like a paint job on a car in order to be fixed. Now auction sheet also said C on the door. This is super commonplace for minis to rust too. So see at the bottom there, the extra spots of rust. Okay, we're already at 10 minutes and so it's a little bit late for these videos. My wife is saying, I want to have a date, Derek, please. And I'm like, no, I'm shooting car reports. Some rock chips. Rock chips? They look like rock chips, but I don't understand how rocks would get there unless somebody opened their door and did target practice in the door card. It's like a dart board that always has little dart holes around it in your basement. So cool, a Cooper steering wheel. Aftermarket seat, and I really don't like these seats because you can't adjust the back very easily. This one you sort of can, but this seat seems a bit dangerous to me because the seat is supposed to lock into place and this one doesn't. And your area to like you can spin this to give you a different angle, but it never really sits in a position that I would like because I like my seat to be upright like that one, like almost a right angle here. I know most people don't, but I do. This one here is like really relaxed version. This type of seat would be like a classic style racing seat. Common for minis here because of the style, but I don't like them. Okay, cracks in the dashboard. AC has been installed in the glove box here, and it does work. The deformed dashboard that was on the auction sheet is this section up here, which looks like it's just like a vinyl wrapping. Smells like air freshener in here. More cracks on the dashboard. You can see there. Oil pressure looks good. 4-speed. They only ever came with a 4-speed or an auto, and the auto ones are problematic. 4 speeds are fine though. Just change your oil all the time and you'll be good. And then in case people didn't know, the oil is used between the engine and the transmission in the Mini. They're both in the same sump. So regularly a car will have an oil sump that just keeps the oil and has the pickup there with the strainer on it. This one has the transmission actually in that sump, and that's how they could fit such a compact engine into the car, which is kind of cool, but make sure to change your oil. Oh, this doesn't go up very easily. Huh. Well, you should be able to pick that up easier to get into the back. But here's your back. Pretty standard fare. It has the shoulder belts. That's like a modern Mini thing. The one that I had as my first car had no shoulder belts for the front. It only had lap belts here. 1972 model. Was not a Cooper. It was 1000cc, 37 horsepower. I think this one would have 87 horsepower? Something like that. I don't know. And it still has the Japanese plates on it, but those have to be taken off in order to deregister the car. Okay, so there's the walk around. If you are the owner of this car and you have questions about it, let me know. We do move the cars out of the lot as quickly as we can, but since it's March right now, it's a very busy month, and so it'll take longer for the pickup. We probably have about another 5 or 7 days before this one will leave the lot, depending on when the shipping date is, because we'll prioritize the ones that are shipping first. And so let me know if you have any questions. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.